The person you could have been if you'd taken that other job still exists. The version of you that never met your partner, that moved to a different city, that made a different choice at a critical moment, is just as real as you are. This isn't a philosophical thought experiment, it's a chillingly logical extension of the most tested and proven theory in all of science. And the physics behind it suggest that your conscious attention is the only thing collapsing an infinite field of possibilities into the single life you call your own. To understand how this is possible, we have to look at an experiment so simple, yet so profoundly strange, that the famous physicist Richard Feynman once said it contains the entire mystery of quantum mechanics. It's called the double-slit experiment. Imagine a barrier with two vertical slits in it. On one side, you have a device that fires single electrons, one at a time like tiny pellets from a gun. On the other side, there's a detector screen that lights up wherever an electron hits. If you close one slit and fire the electrons, you get what you'd expect, a single band on the screen, right behind the open slit. The electrons behave like simple particles. They go from point A to point B. Open the other slit and close the first, and you get another single band behind that slit. Simple. But when you open both slits at the same time, something happens that breaks our understanding of reality. Instead of two single bands on the screen, a complex pattern of many bands appears. This is called an interference pattern. It's the unmistakable signature of a wave. It happens when waves pass through two slits, and their peaks and troughs interfere with each other, strengthening in some places and cancelling out in others. A single particle, like an electron, should go through one slit or the other. It cannot create a wave pattern. And yet, there it is. The only way for this pattern to form is if each single electron somehow goes through both slits at the exact same time, behaving like a wave, and interferes with itself. It exists in a superposition of all possible paths. It is everywhere it could be, all at once. The electron is a cloud of potential, and it stays that way until one crucial thing happens. That's when scientists decided to watch it. The logical next step was to place a tiny detector at the slits to see which one each electron actually went through. The moment they did this, the mystery deepened into a paradox. When a detector is placed to observe the electron's path, the interference pattern completely vanishes. It disappears. Suddenly, the electrons start behaving like particles again. You get two simple bands on the screen, one behind each slit. The act of measuring, of simply looking, forced the electron to abandon its wave-like state of infinite possibilities and choose a single definite path. This is the observer effect. The universe, it seems, behaves differently when we're not looking. The electron's wave of potential, its superposition, is called the wave function. The act of observation seems to collapse this wave function, forcing one single outcome out of a sea of probabilities into our concrete reality. It's like a ghost that roams an entire castle at once, passing through all the walls. But the instant you shine a flashlight on it, it becomes solid, standing in a single room. The flashlight of observation forces the potential to become actual. For decades, this was the accepted view, known as the Copenhagen interpretation. A quantum system exists in a fuzzy state of all possibilities until it's measured, at which point all the other possibilities just cease to exist. They evaporate from reality. But this idea never sat well with some physicists. Where do all those other potential realities go? A brilliant young graduate student at Princeton in the 1950s named Hugh Everett III asked this question and came up with an answer that was so radical, so mind-bending, that it was dismissed for decades. And it changes absolutely everything. Hugh Everett looked at the math of the wave function and proposed something elegant and terrifying. He suggested the wave function never collapses at all. He argued that the act of observation doesn't destroy any possibilities. Instead, it splits the entire universe. Every single possible outcome of a quantum event actually happens. Each one just happens in its own, newly created, parallel branch of reality. When the electron arrives at the two slits, the universe splits in two. In one universe, the electron goes through the left slit. In another, identical universe, it goes through the right. From inside each universe, the wave seems to have collapsed into a single result. But from the outside, all possibilities were preserved. The reason you, the observer, only see one outcome is because you are part of the system. You split along with it. A version of you sees the electron go left. An equally real version of you in a parallel timeline sees it go right. Both versions of you are completely convinced that their reality is the only one. Both remember a single linear history leading up to that moment. They have no way of knowing their counterpart even exists. Everett's idea, now called the many worlds interpretation, suggests that reality is a constantly branching tree of parallel timelines, where every quantum possibility is realized. And this branching isn't rare. It's happening constantly, everywhere, on a scale that is almost impossible to comprehend. But if this is true for electrons, what does it mean for us? The bridge from subatomic particles to your everyday life is your own brain. Your brain is a fantastically complex electrochemical machine. Every thought you have, every decision you make, is the result of neurons firing. This process involves the movement of ions like sodium and potassium across cell membranes, events governed by the probabilistic laws of quantum mechanics. Your brain is a quantum system, which means every moment of choice is a quantum event. Consider the simplest decision. You're walking down the street and come to a corner. Turn left or turn right. At the quantum level of your brain's neural activity, there is a probability for both outcomes. For a fleeting moment, your brain exists in a superposition of turning left and turning right. According to the many worlds interpretation, the moment you act, the universe splits. In one reality, you turn left. You continue your day, maybe you bump into an old friend, and your life proceeds down that path. In another, equally real universe, a version of you turns right. They have a completely different afternoon. They miss that friend, but maybe they discover a new coffee shop and their life proceeds down that path. Every choice, big or small, from what you eat for breakfast to who you marry, branches reality. This means there is a version of you that took that job you turned down, a version of you that stayed in your hometown, a version of you that said the thing you wish you'd said. There are countless versions of your life playing out, each one inhabited by a consciousness that is undeniably you, each one feeling like they are the original, the one real version. Each of them has a full set of memories of a life that led them to their present moment. Each believes their path was the only one taken. This creates an almost infinite landscape of potential lives, all existing simultaneously. Which brings us to the most profound question of all. If all these worlds are real, why are you experiencing this specific one? This is where physics meets the frontier of consciousness. If every possible reality exists, then what is the mechanism that selects the single timeline we experience? One of the most compelling, though speculative, ideas is that your subjective awareness, your consciousness itself, acts as the selector. Your attention is the observer in the experiment of your own life. Out of the infinite sea of potential timelines branching off every microsecond, your consciousness navigates a single, coherent path. Think of the multiverse as an infinite radio dial. Every possible song, every station, is broadcasting simultaneously. Your conscious attention is the tuner. You can only listen to one station at a time. This doesn't mean the other stations have stopped broadcasting. They are still there. You've simply tuned your awareness to this one frequency, this one timeline. Your experience of a linear, cause and effect life is the path your awareness is tracing through the vast branching structure of all possible realities. You collapse the wave function of your own potential with every act of focused attention. Where you place your awareness determines which branch of the multiverse you experience as real. You are navigating the garden of forking paths, and the light you carry is your own consciousness. The other paths are just as real. They are just in the dark from your perspective. And on those paths, other versions of you are carrying their own light, convinced their path is the only one that's illuminated. What then does this mean for concepts we hold so dear like regret, choice, and destiny? This framework fundamentally changes our relationship with the past. The feeling of regret is the mourning for a reality that could have been. But under the many worlds view, that reality wasn't lost. It simply is. The version of you who made the better choice is out there, living that life. You can let go of the idea of the one wrong turn, because all turns were taken. This also places a staggering weight on the present moment. Your future is not a single road waiting to be walked. It is an infinite field of potential paths. The reality you will experience tomorrow is being selected by the choices, thoughts, and focus you are applying right now. Your attention is the most powerful creative force you possess. It is the tool that proves the infinite branches of possibility, down to the single stem of your lived experience. You are pulling one thread from an infinite tapestry and calling it your life. This suggests that the direction of your life can be altered by systematically and deliberately shifting the focus of your attention. You steer your path through the multiverse by choosing what you observe. And this leads to the final unsettling thought. Every single one of the infinite versions of you, living out every possible outcome of every choice you've ever made, feels like the main character. Each one feels like the true, original you. Each one remembers a past that feels singular and inevitable. And every single one of them is correct. The only thing that truly differentiates their reality from yours is which possibility you chose to look at last.